following is a Galactic Digital Studios production. This is Are We Not Entertained, part of the Closing Tag Network. Oh, this music makes you so jazzed up and hyped and ready to go. Yay! Sorry, just stealing a line from Ryan Reynolds. Anyway, this is Are We Not Entertained, part of the Closing Tag Network. And I have some major Marvel news. The Russo brothers are back. Yes, they are finally doing away with the Kang stuff. All the Kang stuff, all the rumors about, they're going to bring in someone to replace Jonathan Majors. They're going to do this, and this. Nope, none of that. We're just doing away with Kang altogether. He go bye-bye. He's nowhere to be seen. Boom. Thanos. Done. Nope, they are advertising the next Avengers movie as Doomsday. I think you can kind of guess where that's going just by the title alone. Doomsday. As in Victor Von Doom, aka Dr. Doom. How many times have I been on this podcast basically saying we need Dr. Doom in the next Avengers movie? Well, guess what? Ask and ye shall receive. We are getting Victor Von Doom, and the Russo brothers, the same guys that directed Endgame, are directing Doomsday. All is right with the world once again. But that's not all. There is a rumor, or confirmation, I guess you could say, that the Russo brothers are also directing Avengers Secret Wars. We're getting the Secret Wars. And guess who's in that too? Victor Von Doom. And what's even better is who's playing Victor Von Doom. But I'll get to that in a minute. On to the reason why you probably clicked on this video in the first place. You want my spoiler-free thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. And without spoiling anything, I think the one word that I can basically sum up just about every Deadpool movie, including Deadpool and Wolverine, is fun. I went to see it yesterday, and I had fun. I laughed my ass off, obviously. I laughed at all the jokes, all the inside references, all of the different, jabs that Ryan Reynolds. I mean, it wasn't just Ryan Reynolds. It was a lot of guys in this movie were basically jabbing at each other back and forth, fourth wall breaking. There was one scene where someone was like, "Oh, you can do fourth wall breaks too. Cool. So can I." And then, of course, they made a reference, which I can't reference because, again, trying to keep it spoiler-free. So, Deadpool and Wolverine, which, by the way, is breaking box office records left and right. It is currently the 8th most grossing movie in American history. Not just superhero movie, not Marvel movie, no qualifications. The 8th highest grossing movie of all time in the United States is Deadpool and Wolverine. And I honestly can't think of any movie more deserving, except for the 7 that are above it. One of them's probably Endgame. So, what's the story about? Well, again, I can't really go too deep into the story because, again, spoilers. But basically, everything that was in the trailer is mostly accurate as far as the premise of the story. Wade Wilson is trying to keep his world from falling completely apart. There is some timey-wimey shit that's going on that resulted from Deadpool 2, the end of Deadpool 2. If you haven't seen Deadpool 2 by now, sorry, but basically there's some timey-wimey stuff in the post-credit scene of Deadpool 2 that is a direct correlation of what's going on in Deadpool and Wolverine. Well, Deadpool and Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds is basically abducted by the TVA. Yes, the same TVA from Loki. And basically is told you have X amount of time to save the universe or it's going to go bye-bye. Your pretty little girlfriend from the first 2 movies is no longer in existence. All your friends from Deadpool 2 non-existent. All the people that, all the friends you made along the way, Blind Owl, all of them, bye-bye. Bye-bye. You no longer exist. By the way, and again, I'm trying my best to not spoil the movie, but there was one very noticeable absence. And I'm wondering if his past comments might have something to do with it. T.J. Wilson. Yes, the bartender from the first 2 Deadpool movies was nowhere to be found in this movie. Just not there. Just doesn't exist. He's not even mentioned. Not a fourth wall break, nothing. Just whatever. Now, the whole point of Deadpool and Wolverine is Deadpool's trying to find someone to help him save his universe, which is not part of the sacred timeline, which is why the TVA is like, do this or else. But Wolverine is in a completely other universe. So there's a lot of multiverse jumping here and there and here and there. And hilarity ensues. They fight. They, duke it out. And, obviously they can't, neither one of them can die from each other's attacks. So it's like, I'm going to stab my sword through you, and you're going to stab your claw things through me. And, the fighting continues on until they end up someplace. I'm not going to say where because, again, spoilers. And they run into familiar faces, cameos, spoilers, leaving that alone. And that's where they meet Cassandra Nova, which, as the trailers pointed out, is basically the big bad of this movie. Cassandra Nova, in case you don't know, in case you, haven't followed up with the X-Men comics or anything like that, Cassandra Nova is the evil twin sister of Charles Xavier, Professor X, Patrick Stewart. So, Little Miss Nova also possesses psychic abilities similarly to Charles Xavier because, again, they're twins. So she's doing her best to completely mindfuck, figuratively and very literally, both Deadpool and Wolverine. And she tries to do that, and there's fighting and everything. I'm just fast forwarding through all the boring parts. Basically, okay, less exciting parts, I should say. They're not really boring. They're less exciting. But again, there's cameos involved. I can't say who because spoilers. And we fast forward to where they realize, oh, we can use Juggernaut's helmet to block her psychic abilities. So they end up doing that. And then we think that they've defeated her. Surprise, they didn't defeat her. And again, I'm not going to get into any further details or anything because, again, I don't want to spoil a movie for those that haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, please go watch this movie. Yes, it's the 8th highest grossing movie of all time. I get that. But do yourselves a favor and go watch this movie. I am imploring you to do it. And that's about as far as I'll go with the plot line. Now, my thoughts are, it's a Deadpool movie. There's going to be violence. There's going to be blood. There's going to be a massive amount of gore. You already know this about Deadpool. There's going to be insane fourth wall breaks. There's going to be even more insane, meta humor. And the funniest part is that Marvel has gotten in on this whole, bullshitting and not taking themselves seriously bit that has made Deadpool so awesome. That has made Ryan Reynolds awesome. That's the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about the success of Deadpool. Deadpool isn't just a merc with a mouth. He isn't just somebody that slices and dices and, has sex scenes with his lovely lady friend and says fuck every 5 words. That's not the appeal of Deadpool. That's part of the appeal, but that's not the whole appeal. Part of the appeal for Deadpool that I think a lot of superhero movies whiff on tremendously, no names mentioned, DC, is that they don't take themselves seriously. Deadpool does not take himself seriously at all. And neither does Ryan Reynolds, which is why Ryan Reynolds is such a perfect fit for Deadpool. So that's part of the appeal. And now that appeal has rubbed off on Marvel. Marvel is getting in on the act in this movie. There's several comments made by both Ryan Reynolds and other supporting cast members in this movie about how the MCU's multiverse has been a complete and colossal disappointment. And to be perfectly honest, I think it has been a disappointment. I wouldn't say it was a complete disappointment. There have been some gems, very hidden gems, but there have been some gems. But one of the things that I really enjoyed, other than the meta humor, other than obviously the violence and the gore and the fourth wall breaks and the jokes and everything else that you're accustomed to with Deadpool, is that this movie, and this is probably the most important takeaway that you'll probably have from this entire review, is a love letter. More than anything else about this movie, it is a love letter to the 20th Century Fox superhero franchises. It is a love letter to the X-Men. It is a love letter to the Fantastic Four. Not the shitty one that was made just a few years ago. The ones that were made back in 2002 or something or another. It is a love letter to Blade. It is a love letter to all these different franchises from 20th Century Fox that are directly affected by this acquisition of Fox by Disney. And most likely these actors that portrayed some of these characters that we absolutely love over the years are getting replaced. And it's both okay to be sad about it, but it's also okay to be excited about what's to come. And I think the most important part of that love letter is that it is deeply from the heart of both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. There's a mid-credit scene. They actually play it during the credits. They're rolling the credits on one side of the screen. They're playing this video on the other side. And it is an emotional moment. An emotional montage that pays tribute to all these different franchises. And it shows a lot of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of behind the scenes interviews with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds and Patrick Stewart. All these different amazing actors. And probably because I was laughing so hard earlier in the movie, I also cried during this video montage. It was amazing. It was so beautifully well done. And then, of course, we get the post-credit scenes. That's another, slap in the face from Deadpool. Yeah, because it is. Because it's Deadpool. What can you do? So, you already know my thoughts on whether you should go see it or not. I think everyone should go see it. Okay, maybe not, all the people that are so easily offended by the Olympic ceremony that they equate it to the Last Supper. Maybe not those guys. But if you're not easily offended, if you've actually watched Deadpool in the past and you're like, yeah, I like Deadpool. He's cool. He's awesome. I encourage you to go watch this movie. I encourage you to go watch this movie if you're a huge fan of those 20th Century Fox movies. I encourage you to watch it if you love meta humor and the MCU making fun of itself. I think that's going to be a big drawing point. If you're a fan of movies and characters not taking themselves seriously, yeah, go watch it. I may go watch it a second time, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'll still laugh my ass off because Deadpool's that fucking awesome. What can you do? What can you do? And I did read a report this morning that Kevin Feige has flat out said that there are no plans currently to recast Wolverine. So I don't know if that means he's putting Wolverine on the shelf for now. I know that there's a lot of rumors that, the MCU's kind of all over the place. So it may be possible that they're not going to, bring Wolverine back anytime soon. I sincerely hope that this is not the last we see of either Wolverine or Deadpool. I really do. There's one scene, and you've probably seen it in the trailer, where they're in the car and Deadpool's going pew, 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 kind of mimicking Spider-Man. I want to see that team up. And apparently they do too. Both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have both basically said that they're currently talking with Tom Holland and other dignitaries to potentially put together a Deadpool Spider-Man team up, which I would love to see. I would love to see Tom Holland kind of come out of that shell. Tom Holland, to me, strikes me as a guy that could really use not really a makeover image-wise, but kind of like, maybe not typecast into the same thing over and over and over and over. Because so far his Hollywood career has been the same thing over and over and over and over. Spider-Man as a character has so much potential and so much, room to work with in terms of meta humor and pop culture references. I mean, we saw it in, Infinity War, where he was referencing Alien and Star Wars and all these other different IPs. You could tap into that, but then crank it up about 13. So that's my next wish list, is to see Ryan Reynolds and Tom Holland in a similar team up scenario like they did with Deadpool and Wolverine. But that's the review. Here's the big Marvel news, and I apologize for bearing the lead. If you've been with me for 21 minutes, I thank you. But again, at the same time, I know this is another big reason why you clicked on this video. I mentioned Doctor Doom earlier. I mentioned earlier that Doomsday is coming to the MCU. But more importantly than that is who is playing Doctor Doom. Are you ready? Robert Downey Jr. He's back. Robert Downey Jr. is back in the MCU as a villain, and not just a villain. He's back as the villain. What's that line from The Dark Knight? You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. Robert Downey Jr. says, how about both? And yes, Doctor Doom in this particular instance is going to be a multiverse variant of Tony Stark. So technically, all you guys that were clamoring over the return of Tony Stark, again, ask and ye shall receive. It's going to be fucking awesome. And I can't wait. Isn't it cool to like superhero movies again? Just awesome. It fills my heart with joy. It fills my heart with joy to not be like, oh God, another fucking Marvel movie. God, Lord, why? Oh my God, another Disney Plus property. Are we fucking kidding me here? This is a joke, right? This is a joke. It fills my heart with joy to not have to think that every time I see a new Marvel thing now. I mean, I'll still think that about Agatha Harkness, but still, it's nice to get less secret invasions. With all due respect to Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, he's my Nick Fury, and more Deadpool and Wolverines that just are fun, that don't take themselves seriously, that are just uplifting and, exciting. And it's exciting to get less Eternals and more Russo brothers properties with Tony Stark in them. It's going to be just mind-melting fun, and I can't wait. If you're as excited as I am, and you want to leave a donation link in the upper right hand corner of the closingtag.com of all the websites in the Closing Tag network. You know what to do from there. If you are listening to this on Spotify, leave a review. Reviews are amazing. I love them. If you're watching this on Facebook, like the video, share the video, comment. What do you guys think about Robert Downey Jr. coming back? What do you guys think about the Russo brothers coming back? What do you think about Deadpool and Wolverine if you've seen it? Please no spoilers in the comments though. Okay? Cool. Same drill with YouTube. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, hit the bell for notifications. That way you're notified every time a new video or short drops. And I want to thank everyone for listening, for liking, for downloading, for donating, for doing everything you can to help support the podcast. Your efforts are not going unnoticed. So thank you. And until next time we meet again, superhero movies are fucking back, baby. And remember to include your closing tags. Thank you. This has been a Galactic Digital Studios production.